goodness gracious. My subscribers are going the wrong way. Look right here. Subscribe now or I have to get a real job. How are you doing, Ken?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good. So, talk to me a little bit about this event that you have coming up.
Yeah, it's October 27th in the UNF in Jacksonville, Florida. Um, we've got our second Valor coming up. We did one back in 2019. Obviously, everybody knew COVID hit, kind of shut everything down, but kind of worked on our social platforms and some apps and other things to build our business. So I feel like we're in a pretty good position now to really start make a push to that bare knuckle circuit. I think now's the time. We've got to see a lot of things everybody else has been doing, the rights, the wrongs, and really make a really good impact in our next event, which is going to be in Jacksonville, Florida, October 27th at UNF.
Just kind of can tell me about the difference between kind of like being a fighter as opposed to like running an organization and being an executive and like the new problems you face.
Well, for me, I don't think it's there's not really, in my opinion, anything different because whether I'm in the ring fighting, I want to be the best. And it's no different than putting on shows. I want to make sure I put on the best shows. I'm very competitive no matter what it is. So I take everything I've learned in fighting, some of the knowledge that I have to be able to put a vision in with Valor, like for instance, the bout circle. I came up with the idea of not having ropes or cages because I felt like it gave people opportunity to cheat, to lay against it, to rest, to be able to balance themselves. So taking that out, it forces them to have to fight and not lay back and do nothing. Rope a dope, kind of take your time, make them come to you. Taking that out really forces the action, makes them fight. Also, too, pure bare knuckle. We are the only league that's true bare knuckle. There's no tape on the hands whatsoever. And I believe that forces accuracy to be able to go in and throw punches and be very accurate. Good footwork, because in order to be able to throw those accurate punches, you got to have great footwork. And the next thing, too, is the no clinching. I mean, you want to talk about picking up the pace and making it fast. Take out clinching. Mike Tyson would have loved that in his time because that's all anybody ever did to him was clinch him. So for me, it was really about understanding everything I learned and the competitiveness that I had to be a great world champion, understanding what that was and being able to go in there and make the fights more exciting through the knowledge that I learned through the years.
Interesting. That I like that. Bare knuckle to me kind of reminds me of your era of MMA, where it's very at the ground level. Do you see any comparisons to like where bare knuckle is compared to when you were the most dangerous man in the UFC?
Yeah, I do. I think that the comparisons are is education. Just like in the beginning with No Holds Barred, everybody looked at it. They didn't understand it because they never saw anything like that where guys would grab each other and take them to the ground and punch each other. And so the only thing they never saw was on the street, and they thought it was barbaric until they really started understanding how technical it was, all the moves that you had to learn on the ground to defend yourself. And so once that education was out there, people truly understood and started to appreciate the fighting style. It's no different bare knuckle because it's the same thing where people hear bare knuckle and they think of the street fights and they don't understand that that's really the roots of fighting. It's the true boxing back in the day when they didn't have gloves and guys had to go in there and truly fight with bare hands. And let's not kid anybody. When they put gloves on guys, it wasn't to protect the guy getting hit. It was to protect the hands of the guys doing hitting. So when they talk about trying to keep it safer, that's why they put gloves on. That's not true. They were just protecting the guys that were winning so they can come back and fight again, protect those hands. So it's really about bringing about education, just like they did in the earlier days with the UFC and the mixed martial arts and the no holds barred, educating the fan base on what is safe.
Perfect. Who are the fighters that people should be looking for from your organization that you think could break out and be stars?
Well, what we're doing is we're building stars. We're going out and we're going to local towns wherever we're fighting at, and we're doing tryouts. We're looking for that shiny pin in a haystack. We're looking for that. And so we're giving people opportunities that really don't have a name, and we want to give them an opportunity to shine. But at the same time, we do have a main event that I think is going to be an explosive experience for anybody there that's watching the fight. I think we've got, probably in my opinion, and watching the bare knuckle circuit, two of the hardest hitting heavyweights that are out there. And I'm not going to mention the names. We'll make that announcement later. But I truly believe that this is going to be a really heavyweight explosion.
When you said tryout, I thought of the old tryouts that you had for your gym and how legendary it was. People would mentally break and so forth and so on. My last two questions before we kind of conclude and promote the fight one last time. I have a question about, what do you think the odds Francis Ngannou has a chance with Tyson Fury? Obviously you've had a lot of experience in all realms of combat. What do you think his odds are going into that, and what do you think of that?
Well, if it was a true bare knuckle fight, his odds would be a lot better. I would say 35, 37% of being able to win if it was bare knuckle. But because it's boxing and it is Tyson Fury's world, that's what he does. You're looking at a 5% chance. That's very limited, especially when you got boxing gloves on that are padded. You got to hit the guy pretty hard, and you got to be able to hit him on the button. And that's real hard to do, even for a professional, let alone somebody that's coming in that has absolutely no experience at a professional level in boxing.
And then my other question was, Sugar Sean O'Malley had recently called out Gervonta Davis, big name in the sport. Do you see that as a more competitive fight or the same level, or do you have any perspective on that fight?
I think people have to truly understand it. And it's very difficult because most people are not training in it, right? They're watching from far away, or they're amateurs trying to get there. And they see a guy going in MMA and they look at him and say, man, that dude's got great hands, man. I bet you he could box. It is such a different world. It is such a different world to go into a professional ring, a boxing ring, and compete with the elite level of boxers when you are an MMA fighter, even though your hands may be tremendous. I mean, you've seen what happened to Conor McGregor, and in my opinion, Mayweather carried him for a while, because Mayweather normally doesn't sit in the pocket and allow guys to hit him, but he did in that fight. And most of the time, he's always moving around and making guys miss and hitting them. So he made it a fight. And again, like I said, it's not to take anything away, because these guys are great MMA fighters. But when you go into an arena and you're going into somebody else's world and they are at that 1% level, it's very difficult for you to have a shot. Again, it is a puncher's chance, but man, you got to get very lucky.
It's that needle in a haystack you were talking about. When you're looking for talent, you have to land that type of punch. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. So, can you kind of sell me on this event? It sounds wonderful, in October, and kind of give us kind of some more details that I might not have asked prior.
Yeah, I think the fight is going to sell itself. It's bare knuckle, and it's like the beginning of the no holds barred world when they first started out with UFC. It was exciting because it's new. And this is something that what we're doing, the vision that we have in Valor, is new. There are no ropes, there are no cages. It forces action. It's the only true bare knuckle organization. There are no clinching, which forces the action. So anybody that gets into that bout circle and fights on that night is going to be an action-packed fight, and it's bare knuckle. So at any point in time during a fight, someone can land a shot and put somebody on the canvas. So I think it's going to be a great night, but that's not the best part of it. The best part of it is we will be announcing in the next week or so our main event, and our main event is going to be a heavyweight explosion.
Well, I'm excited and I'm going to be tuned in. Thank you for your time.